talking, arrogant, throwing fits, ripping shit, tearing it, imperative. Then I'm killing this mic no matter where I live. These derelict rappers acting a fool, this embarrassing is flagrant. That's the nature of this entertainment, and we can't even change it. Guilty before arraignment, now the system tainted. But when we speak, they all laugh at us. And y'all wonder why I'm lacking trust. Try to fight a giant with attorneys that can back them up. That's church versus science, both sides start acting up. I'm late on my assignment, hopping up a mile high, climbing, obviously never silent. New alignment, I'm defiant, cannot describe it. Used to describe it as a young graffiti artist. Before the beard, I always got carded. At every bar, even though my bar has been the hardest. The scars on my face said I ain't always been the smartest. But I'll show you where my heart is. I said I'll show you where my heart is. I can show you where my heart's at. See it on my sleeve, even if the beat stops my soul.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Tuesday! Hanging with the fellas! Little sports nonsense. And we got plenty to discuss, from the NBA to the NHL to the NBA, and some movie discussion as well. It's going to be a fun night. It always is on a Tuesday evening when you're sipping your little beverage, to have a little communication with the fellas. How we doing this evening, boys? Robert, Pinky, cheers.
Let's go.
Excellent. Repping the dark side today because they just got their asses kicked on Andor, and that whole series start to finish. I cannot wait for you two to finally get through it. I'll be fucking 60 by the time you do it, but I'll be ready.
Whoa! I'm starting Andor this weekend. It's happening. Okay. I just finished Reacher season 3. It's happening.
Got it. So I'll be 30.
You might be 30.
Get there.
I'll take that.
All right, cool.
You might be 30.
All right.
35.
Cool. So
Easy,
plus or minus
easy.
5-7 years. Got it.
All right. So.
And the microphone is out.
All right. That's what I'm talking about. Getting started early.
Way to start. Get it done and over with, and we just move on.
All right. Well, let's just clear out the elephant in the room. Our poor Nuggets. It was sad. It was frustrating. They
it hurt.
lost Game 7, and it was kind of a microcosm of the entire series. Look, OKC was the better team. OKC had fresher, more depth. They were able to run. They ran 10 players. Like, Shea averaged like 32 minutes. Joker and Jamal were averaging 40-something. Like, that takes a toll. And but at the end of the day, multiple games in this series, the refs literally made the worst foul calls you will ever see if you're not LeBron. Like, LeBron gets these horrible foul calls. Shea Alexander was getting them. Chet was getting them. Jalen Williams was getting them. The refs were awful in this series. Now, I think game set. Yes, they were. And again, I still think I picked OKC to win. I still think OKC would have won Game 7, even if the refs were playing normal. They were the fresher team. They were at home. They were going to win that game, but the refs allowed it to get out of hand early, and that was a wrap.
Yeah, I don't see it the same way. I picked the Nuggets to win in 7, so this isn't like me saying I picked OKC and that it was good to go. I truly thought Denver could have won. I said they had to get a perfect game almost from their starting 5 for 4 games in order to do it. Aaron Gordon going down and being basically non-existent for that last game, unfortunately, with the hamstring injury. He went out there, he gave it a try, commendable, but at some point you got to be like, I can't do this, and you need to let somebody else step in and play, because he could barely move. So that kills them, because that's their second best player since, the start of the playoffs. Jokic was visibly frustrated for a lot of different reasons. He wasn't playing at a high IQ level like he normally does, and he was having a lot of silly turnovers. The team as a whole, their turnovers and shot selection was atrocious. Absolutely atrocious. So, 9 times out of 10, when you're the more aggressive team, which OKC was, the refs are going to give you a little bit of leeway. And the Nuggets didn't step up to play the same way. They just didn't for multiple reasons. The bench showed how thin it was. Jokic and the starting five looked like they were getting tired. I won't say they lost their legs the same way they did against Minnesota last year, second half of Game 7, but they looked visibly tired, or more so than Oklahoma City. And let's be honest, the playoffs are about a war of attrition, right? Like, it is 2 months long if you want to go start to finish. So you do have to go through some injuries and bumps and bruises and being tired because of the schedule. So I get where Aaron Gordon's coming from. I feel like there used to be more 2 days rest between games when you traveled, and that doesn't seem to be as prevalent as it used to be. So maybe an extra day here and there would help overall in the overall product like he was talking about. But as a whole, look, the better team won. I picked the better starting five to win. The better team won. Now, I heard people do this same nonsense that they did a couple years ago with the Lakers and Rui Hachimura after one game. Oh my God, they unlocked something, and Caruso on Jokic, it totally threw him off, and it was a brilliant change by the coaching staff. No. The guys around Jokic didn't step up and couldn't hit outside shots to make guys leave. They were able to pack the paint and put more than just one dude on him in Caruso. Well, I'll give Caruso credit. He banged with him down there, and he put a body on him, and he put the energy into it to make it, I don't want to say difficult for Jokic, but
he made him work.
It made it tedious, for sure. So there were things that OKC did that did make it a different game plan. Denver didn't adjust at all.
Oh, man. Well,
it was bad.
Jamal being inconsistent, my MPJ being non-existent. Christian Brown showed up quite a bit. Aaron Gordon showed up quite a bit. But the team as a whole, if MPJ scoring 20 points a game, they're fine. They're on a roll. He scored like 5. I think it's one game he scored 2. Like, you just can't have that from a guy.
Look, I'm going to be honest with you. I think the last game, the turnovers was like 24, something like that, to 6.
Oh, my gosh.
And yeah, OKC had like 40-something points off of those turnovers. Like, that it doesn't matter if MPJ only had 5 points in the game. If you cut that turnover margin in half, you have a chance at the game still.
Every turnover in the second quarter was a foul that they didn't call. Those were all aggressive fouls. They played through the player to get to the ball. They stole the ball with a wide open lane to the basket. The refs called none of them.
So here's the thing, Pinky. You say that, but when you're giving an inbounds pass, you have to get the ball if you're inbounding to the post, I should say. If you're delivering a pass into the post or somebody with their back to the basket, let's put it that way, you have to get the ball to the guy. You can't give it to the guy. You have to get it to the guy. And all of the Nuggets passes were gentle, easy, slight, pathetic, weak passes. No, listen, hear me out. And that guy with his back to the basket has no chance when you do that, because all of his weight and momentum is going backwards. So when you deliver that weak pass, the guy guarding him from behind can release the weight that he's carrying on the offensive player to keep him away from the basket, and he doesn't have to even move. He just lets that guy move backwards on his own, and the ball is right there for you. Like I said, the Nuggets played terribly. You want to blame it on the refs all you want, okay, but the problem is that's not the case, and the reffing wasn't that bad.
You were gone at the beginning, Caleb, so you didn't hear what I said. I said the better team won. I said the refs were inconsistent, and they didn't call the fouls consistently on both sides, where Denver, consistently on defense, could not play as aggressive as they were allowing OKC to play. And that is tough to do.
I don't necessarily agree with that. Were there some inconsistencies? Yes, I will agree with you there. I will agree with the word inconsistency, because I do believe...
I'm all for dirty basketball. I'm all for letting the guys play and play hard and play aggressive. I love that. Game 5 of the Heat Nuggets series, that's one of the dirtiest games you've seen in a long time. they let both teams play aggressive, and they weren't calling things both ways. In most of the series, they called a lot against Denver for playing the same way OKC was playing, and they're
not like maybe just to the quick eye or something it looks the same, but it's not, and this is why. OKC moves their feet, dude. Even when they're reaching, they're moving their feet and keeping a body on somebody. The Nuggets guys, outside of really Christian Brown, don't do that. They're behind. Their footwork is bad. Their defense is lazy at times. Aaron Gordon, I should say, is number 1. Christian Brown is number 2. But when the rest of the team is reaching without bodying, it looks worse. So then when your 2 top defenders are doing it the same way, all of a sudden the calls don't necessarily go your way. And that's where some of the inconsistencies come. And then on the other side, I don't think Jokic got the same level of respect that SGA does. As far as guys hacking and then allowing a continuation, an and one opportunity. He doesn't seem to get those. They like to call him on the floor a lot. So I saw a little bit of inconsistency there as well. But as a whole, when you're I feel like we've talked about this before, but when you're the more aggressive team, the calls are usually going to go your way if you're also a good team. I don't want to necessarily say the better team, but they are the better team. But if you're a good team and you're aggressive, the calls are usually going to go your way. Unless the other team is matching that aggression in a way that isn't just trying to be hack-a-shack style. So, yes, to an extent, there were some inconsistencies, but I don't feel like it was a situation where it should have had an impact on the series. The Nuggets just didn't step up to the plate, and it's as simple as that. And if we're taking it a step further, the roster construction between the two is exactly why. When you have to rely on your starting 5 to win a series, and you can't rely on your bench at all for any minutes, points, production whatsoever, you're rolling the dice, period. The fact that they were able to go to 7 games, and I've heard people try to be like, well, this is why Jokic isn't an all-time great. He can't do this. He can't do that, blah, blah, blah. We're not going to run through all the stats again, but no all-star teammates, no all-NBA teammates, no defensive teammates, no this, that, the other, okay? In the first 10 years of his career, no other NBA star on his level, all-time great, did it for more than 7. He's at 10, doing it without any quote-unquote help. So he carried them to 7 games against what many consider to be the best team in the NBA with only a starting 5. And if you take it a step further, it's only a starting 4 because MPJ has a bum shoulder that could barely do anything for the most part by all accounts. I won't be surprised if we hear he has off-season surgery. By all accounts, that's what it was going to be. He chose to hold it off and try to play. I think people are being a little bit too hard on MPJ. The fact that the coaching staff still had him play minutes, I think says 2 things. One, that they know he can get hot enough at any given moment to be very productive. And 2, they don't have better options. So don't blame this on MPJ, okay? He is what he is. Streaky. He could play better defense. Really good offensive rebounder. And when he gets going, it's hard to stop him. But you don't know when that's going to happen. And that's just who he is, okay? It's not, there is no above ceiling now. That's what he is. Russ, they obviously didn't trust a whole lot, especially late in game situations, and that's because of his decision making. He still got minutes, though. Because they didn't have anybody else. OKC was running 10+ rotation, which is absurd and unheard of in the playoffs. And they were doing it. When you're a really good team and you're really deep, we talked about this when Denver won. We talked about this when Boston won last year. It's not uncommon. This is a normal story within NBA circles. So it is what it is, okay? Denver's got a lot of work to do if they want to take advantage of anything that's left of Jokic's prime. We'll talk about that more in the offseason because I got a lot of theories and ideas, Pinky, but we don't need to go into all those details right now.
That's at least the hope that with new management may lead to new changes that might bring us some hope there. So we'll see. But hats off to OKC. I did pick them to win in 6 or 7. I did see a deep team. I love Caruso. You know, if Caruso was on the Nuggets, he'd be one of my favorite players. The dude brings it. He brings the energy. He brings the defense. He'll make some shots here and there. He's a great glue guy. You got to have that. Aaron Gordon's our glue guy on the Nuggets. Caruso's one of those. That's one of the best moves they made this year was getting Caruso from Chicago for Josh Giddey. That was a steal.
Well, let's not go that far. It worked out really well for both teams. Giddey was balling in Chicago, but it fit more of what OKC needed. Absolutely, yes. The fit and the need was a perfect switch for both teams. So absolutely
worked out, which is great. That's when a trade worked for both teams and nobody lost on that trade. So
yeah. So really absolutely, congratulations OKC. I don't want to just act like the Nuggets lost the series because that's not how I feel. OKC went out and took it. Especially the way they went out and played Game 7. So congratulations to them. You are, by many accounts, the best team in the league with the MVP studs around you. Jalen Williams, Chet Holmgren, right? Lou Dort on the defensive end arguably is the defensive player of the year. But they don't necessarily like to give it to perimeter guys for some reason. I don't understand. So it is what it is. Hartenstein, Caruso, the other Williams and the other Williams. They're like seriously.
The Denver radio announcers actually call him the other Williams.
That's hilarious. I think it's actually Jalen, and Jalen spelled 3 different ways if I remember correctly. All Jalen Williams, which is wild. But like they're deep. Each guy kind of knows what they need to be doing when they're in there, and they do it, and they love playing together. If you've watched them all season, their post-game interviews, they do as a group all the time, and they've constantly shunned the national media after-game broadcast interviews for their local media guy that they've done all season with. It's a tight-knit group, and they play really well together, and they're going to be a lot of fun to watch, okay? A lot of fun to watch. They got Minnesota, and we'll talk about that here in a second before go.
Technical difficulties again. OKC, flowers to them. I did pick them to win. They're a crazy good team. They've got so much depth. They've got so many draft picks coming up. Their GM is amazing. Robert left me. Everybody left me. Well, we'll switch over to talk about the Timberwolves. Timberwolves did go ahead and make it through a Steph-less Warriors. The Warriors did put up a fight, but just did not have enough to make it happen without Steph. And Timberwolves actually won in 5. Yeah, 5.
Yeah, Golden State didn't really put up a fight.
They just, I know there was 1 or 2 games they were close in the fourth quarter, but without Steph, Jimmy can only do so much. Kuminga actually played pretty damn good for the series. They fought as hard as they could, but when you lose your guy, it's hard. It's really hard. So, Minnesota and OKC, this should be a really fun series. This is between 2 of the NBA superstars right now. You've got Ant Edwards and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who will most likely be MVP. I disagree with that. I'll probably say that again when Caleb gets back on the show. I think he had a great season. I think OKC can still play without him. Obviously, he only plays 30 or 32 minutes. He doesn't have to play the whole freaking game. I think that's the definition of most valuable player to your team. Joker is definitely that. He should win another MVP. It should be his 5th because he should have won that MVP over Embiid as well. Yes. But Shai will probably win this one. The media seems to keep, even during all the broadcasts, they said the most likely MVP. So they were already like crowning him without the final vote. So they must know something we don't. But to me, you can't be MVP if you only have to play 30 minutes. You also can't be MVP if you're putting up half your points at the free throw line. Like you look at his stats and you're like 35 points. Shit. And then you look and you're like, oh, he had 13 free throws. Like, you know, he has streaks where he's not the best shooter at times. Sometimes he is. Sometimes he's locked in. His mid-range game is awesome. But he gets a lot at the stripe. I don't think Shea's the MVP. He's just not. Really awesome, but I don't think he's the MVP, especially when he can sit on the bench for, 16 minutes of a game and OKC doesn't miss a beat. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Apologies. I just always have technical difficulties because it's just the way it is. Where are we at?
So I was
just talking about the NBA MVPs.
Talking about the Ant Edwards and then Shea, and started talking about Shea as the most likely MVP, even though I disagree with that. But even the media during the games kept calling him the most likely MVP. So obviously they know something we don't. I just don't see how a guy who puts up one of the best statistical seasons of all time is an MVP. Like, we've seen guys do what Shea's done. We've never seen anybody do what Joker did this year. Like, it hasn't happened. And there's multiple times he put up historic performances that have never happened. It's a constant thing. We're just like, oh my God, did you see his stat line? That hasn't been done since Wilt Chamberlain. Like, and yet he's not going to win MVP. It's that he's 5-time MVP in my mind and in my heart.
I mean, yeah, and Jordan's 10, and Bird's 8, and Magic's 5, 6.
Oh, you
7.
definitely know Jordan. You know Jordan Jordan should have never lost an MVP.
LeBron's 10, Kobe's 10, Shaq's got more than 2?
Shaq should probably have more than 2. That's probably a fact.
I get where you're coming from, but like there are some new fanboys out there who believe that this is something new in the NBA, and it's not, first of all. Second of all, when it comes to Jokic, it's twofold. It's the voter fatigue. It's if you're that great, why isn't your team number one? And it's when you give him 4 or 5, you're putting him into elite all-time historical categories. So, there's some truth to some of this, but I think what a lot of people are forgetting with Jokic, and then we should move on because there's current basketball to talk about. We've had enough of the MVP conversation. I feel like beating a dead horse almost, but there are what many consider some all-time greats, top 20 players that don't have rings. And the only reason they're top 20 and not top 10 is because they don't have a ring. Jokic has a ring. He's not what is going to end his career as an all-time great without one. He did find a way to get his team to the promised land at least once. And I think people are kind of forgetting that part of the narrative when they start discussing his story in the grand scheme of NBA lore, if you will. So hopefully that's something that gets added.
You know what we need?
As a check mark to the good side.
At one point in time, when all said and done, we need a movie about Nikola Jokic. And it will be the coolest freaking movie of all time. From showing a
starts
fat
off with him at the horses and shit.
Him as a
No,
fat
it starts
kid.
with the Taco Bell ding, baby.
Taco Bell commercial, getting drafted. Him just loving his horses, getting drunk and partying over in Serbia. His brothers, there could be a great story in there, and I hope we get it one day when it's all said and done. I'm enjoying watching him play. I enjoy I've talked to people. Everybody checked on me on Sunday. I got text messages from all my friends in San Antonio. I got text messages from just random people I haven't heard in a while, like, sorry about your Nuggets, man. And I was just like, oh, thanks, man. But even those folks and some folks that aren't like really, really into basketball, they're like, when you watch a Nuggets game, it's really fun. Pat McAfee said he loves watching the Nuggets play because they play basketball the right way. And it's mainly because of Joker. So let's move on. We do have a OKC and Minnesota series, and
So do you want to discuss the Western Conference Finals and then go over to the East and discuss
let's
how we
do
got
that because
there and then do
I
that?
got some fun stuff to talk about the East too.
All right, that works.
So
Well, let's just throw it out there right now then. I believe I struggle with this one a lot. Back and forth for a lot of different reasons. These two teams are very similar, especially with their lineups, their depth. I'm going Minnesota. I believe they're going to redeem themselves from last year's failure in the Western Conference Finals after that epic comeback in round 2 against the Nuggets in Game 7, and then flopping miserably against Dallas.
awful.
Absolutely. I love Ant. I know you're not as big of a fan because you think he's cocky. To me, I believe he's just self-confident, and he backs it up. If you don't like him talking, shut him up. Because when he's getting his ass beat, he doesn't say anything.
Hold on. So I what I don't like is his shit talking and cockiness, and then every time I tune in to watch him, he disappears for the whole first half. Second half, he picks it up and he shows up. But when you're that dude the whole goddamn game, not just a half.
Here's the deal. I mean, I understand where you're coming from, but if you're going to hang 35, 8 rebounds, and 5 assists.
That's not happening when I watch him. He's hanging 24, and 18 of those come in the second half.
Okay, fine. My point being, if you're going to do that and your team's winning while you do that, I'm good if you're doing that when it matters the most towards the end of the game. And that's what he does. He closes. And the thing I love about him the most is he freely and openly talks about how he wants all that smoke. And win or lose, he will give flowers. And he doesn't, I've yet to hear him rub anything in someone's face after a game, win or lose. Man, when they beat the Nuggets last year, he couldn't stop talking about how good Jokic was. And how he was glad they got out of there, this, that, and the other. I don't hear anybody bad-mouthing him. So I haven't heard him badmouth anybody else. But he does talk smack. He does say, like, it's them against everybody, and he believes in them. And he does, like I said, he wants that smoke, and I love that he talks about that. I want to go play in L.A. I'm good with Game 7. We'll beat them. I like the away crowd. I want to deal with that. He said 3 days ago, yeah, OKC's loud. It's not like Denver was last year. Did you hear Denver last year in Game 7? He just told the OKC fans that they're not as loud as Denver. Like right before you're playing them in the Western Conference Finals. I love that kind of stuff, man. That's
Trash
what competition is about.
Best. And that, all right, like that's one of the biggest things that I really feel like is missing out a lot of sports nowadays is everyone's too afraid to run their mouth because they're getting fined left and right or what have you. Like that's the point of, I don't want to say it's the point, but like that's one of the essence of sports is talking trash and being able to talk that trash, get in your opponent's head, throw them off their game or whatever it is. I mean, you do it I did it in soccer all the time, still do. Try to find a way to get under their skin to be able to make a good play. And anymore, like, that's what Ant does, and I respect him for that. Now, on the outside things, I really don't think he's a great person. But overall, I enjoy watching somebody do their sport and be in their sport. Outside, I could care less, and we'll get into that topic in a little while once we get to the movies bit. But
yeah, I mean, his moral standards or thought process on family is definitely different than mine.
Yes.
I will say that. So, but I like Minnesota in this series.
Who do you have, Robert?
I mean, to be honest with you, I I have been one of those types of people that whenever I lose, whether it's one of my teams, myself, or whatever, who's ever beaten me, that's who I want to win because they obviously have that determination. So I'm going to go OKC on this for that simple fact. I mean, the Nuggets and the Thunder had a great series. I mean, injuries aside, it was fun watching. And I think OKC is able to do something here. I really do. I think they are a better team. I don't know enough about really Minnesota's background just because I'm, again, still learning NBA, but I'm going to put my money on OKC for the simple fact that they really did just show the Nuggets what's up.
Man, that puts me as the tiebreaker, right? I'm conflicted. So I will say one thing: either one of these teams that wins, I think is good because neither one of these teams has won a title. For either team to get the opportunity,
so not technically true by NBA standards because OKC has been allowed to keep Seattle's record. So
Seattle won one like in the 70s. We don't even count that.
But
and it was Seattle. It's not OKC.
One. They do
I'm not
have
counting
one.
it.
But for my technical purposes, and we'll get into this a little bit, it's actually a topic I was going to bring up, but all 4 teams remaining, you're looking at a superstar getting a title for the first time. And 3 of the 4 teams, you're looking at winning for the very first time in my mind. Because as far as I'm concerned, OKC is an expansion franchise, so this would be their first title. Excuse me, it would be the first title for Minnesota, and it would be the first title for Indy. And the Knicks haven't won one since the 70s.
And yeah, I mean, that was what, Frazier and Willis Reed at that point.
Yeah, so we'll get into that a little bit more. But for this finals,
so it's really hard. Minnesota did not. I don't know if Minnesota coasted through the season, which is what made them a 6th seed. And their experience is absolutely ahead of OKC. They've been there more. They've been in those tight series. So I think Minnesota's going to win.
Ooh.
I think Minnesota's going to win. I think it's going to come down to, and again, and this comes down to the close games. I just think in the close games, I think Minnesota's defense may be able to keep Shea and Williams out of the paint, which is where they do a lot of. Basically, what they do is they drive to the hoop, throw the ball up, and get a foul, and now they've got a 3-point play, or at least they're shooting 2. Like, that's pretty much what they do when they need it. If you keep them out of the hole because you can play defense, that doesn't happen. So I'm gonna go with Minnesota in this series based on defense. But I like what you said earlier, Caleb. They are very similar teams. They're constructed in similar ways, and they can both play defense, and they can both get hot shooting. So we'll see what happens. But I've got Minnesota.
I like that. Here's where the differences come for me, and why I finally decided to give the edge to Minnesota. Very similar teams, both deep, both can play defensively really well, both play team ball defensively really well, both have that dude on offense, both have 2 really good. I'm being very, very cavalier with that term right now when I'm talking about both have 2 really good bigs because I'm not talking about Rudy Gobert for Minnesota. I'm talking about Naz Reid and Randall. Okay,
Naz Reid's the 6th man of the year.
But
last year,
they do have Rudy Gobert as well. But Jaden McDaniels is lengthier and so forth. So between that, the fact that they are a little bit bigger than OKC, and what you just brought up, Pinky, that experience. They've got dudes who have been here before, game tested. That matters. It's part of the reason why Denver still almost won that last series against OKC is because of their experience and their ability to understand it's one game at a time still. So they didn't just freak out after that first blowout. They didn't freak out after the second blowout loss. They lost the series on the third blowout loss. So But still, that experience to be able to stay in the series even after a blowout is huge. So those little things, I think, gives Minnesota that edge. Plus, I believe when you look at the ability of Ant and SGA, Ant will shoot from the outside more than SGA does normally. And that can help when your star is able to do that and spread the court for you a little bit more. Not that SGA can't shoot from the outside, it's just not as big a part of his game as Ants is. Ant will bomb from 30, 35, doesn't even care. No mind. SGA isn't known for that as much. So it helps space that floor a little bit. The reason I bring that up is because Minnesota can pack the lane a little bit more and prevent what Pinky was talking about, which is OKC really gets going when they can drive that lane and dish out, or drive that lane and put it up in contact and get to the line. And if they're able to get that train rolling, it really moves their offense and their defense. Minnesota can pack it in way more than Denver can with the defensive studs that they have and the height. And it gives them that little bit of an edge with that experience. So could we still see 7 games? Absolutely. Absolutely we could. We'll see what happens. It wouldn't surprise me if this ends in 6 in Minnesota's favor, only because game 6 would be in Minnesota. And so if they have that 3-2 lead going into game 6, that's where it could get really interesting. I don't know if OKC would be able to get back to OKC. If it's 3-2 OKC going into game 6 with Minnesota, then I think we'll still get a game 7. But that game 6 is going to be very interesting of who's got the lead in the series when that comes around, because that's going to tell you a lot in my mind of how the series ends. But it's going to be a good series.
Is there any ref that'll have the balls to call SGA on his push-off to shoot?
So, no, because it's not something that's called in the NBA, unfortunately. So they're definitely not going to call it on the MVP. Look, there's things about the way the NBA game is called that I disagree with strongly. The likelihood of ever going back to proper fouls and violations and traveling and things of that nature is slim to none. So I'm learning how to just appreciate the game for what it is now.
But that is literally in the rules.
When you can see a full 90 arm come up during that, and then the arm moves like that, those are obvious things. He's not the only one that does it. So by no means am I trying to single him out. It just happens to be he's the MVP and he's in the Western Conference Finals, so it's what we're talking about. We'll see, Pinky. But I think you're going to see a very, very fun, interesting, high energy series.
I appreciate you being honest and saying no.
Minnesota got their rest. So while they're an older team, they finished their last series quicker. They got a couple extra days to be a little bit more rested up and healthier. OKC's younger. They'll be able to get through it fine, I think. But that also kind of evens that series back up. So there's a lot of things going on in this series that I think just help Minnesota in the way the timing all unfolded.
So, as we move to the Eastern Conference Finals, do you know who predicted this? This has been predicted. Robert, do you know? The Knicks and Pacers. This was predicted. It was WWE, baby.
Oh, no, don't give me... Oh, God damn it, Pinky.
Come on, man. It's been awesome. They've been playing it up all week. It's amazing. It's really cool way to, cross-promotion.
You know why they didn't predict it? And I wish somebody would have just said this already and shut this stupid storyline down, because it's so dumb to me. The only reason they were at that event is because both their asses were at home at that time last year.
Hey.
This isn't like they invited them both and that's who they primarily chose. If they were both still in the playoffs, they would have chose dudes from the other teams that were invited to come hang out.
I don't know about Jalen Brunson, but Tyrese Halliburton has been at multiple WWE events. He's there a lot.
Cool.
So this is just fun, Caleb. It's just us having fun. I know they didn't predict it. Who would predict that Cleveland would get busted and hurt and Boston would shit the bed? Nobody.
It's only Pinky. I only say that because I'm tired of hearing about the scriptwriters' storyline narrative bullshit that's been going on in the NBA and the NFL. I'm so over that stupid shit.
Yeah, this isn't scriptwriting. This was just fun. This is just a fun coincidence.
Well, you know what I mean, though. They're like, oh, the WWE had the NBA script for next season, so they put it into play early.
Both players kind of
Yeah,
played
I,
into
I
it.
hate that stuff. That's
Tyrese
annoying.
Halliburton, he was on Raw Recap this yesterday or today when it went on. Tyrese Halliburton was announced as he is in the game, WWE 2K25. It's just fun. It's a fun thing to have. I'm excited for it, and I love the cross promotion of WWE. I like that, and I
What's
enjoy.
funny? Sorry, I was gonna say what's funny to me is what the WWE expected to happen was to be able to have both of them back for Money in the Bank. And now, unfortunately, that doesn't look like it's going to be possible. So they're trying to spin it for some better PR because the plans they had originally had to surprise introduce them into some match or something and come back to build on that storyline from a year ago is no longer a possibility. So they're like, quick, what do we do? We had the NBA script. Look what we predicted last year. Get out of here. But I understand what you're saying. It's a funny storyline.
It's fun. I enjoyed this series a lot as well. I actually think this will be a really fun series because both team New York plays a little bit more physical basketball. Indiana plays really fast basketball. That like opposite can be a really fun thing to watch. What's going to happen? Indiana made it to the Eastern Conference Finals last year, I believe.
Yeah, they found their
Knicks
way
did too.
magically in and got
The
got
Pacers did
steamrolled by Boston.
Yeah, and the Knicks played Boston as well, and they or I don't know last year. All I know, I'm excited
Now
for this
you're
year.
throwing me off. Let's not go back. Let's just talk about this year. Now
Jalen
you're gonna throw me
Brunson
all off.
has been awesome in the playoffs. Halliburton has been awesome. Halliburton to me is he's not quite like top level superstar, but he's right there. And to me, it's some of his inconsistency. Sometimes he can be pretty inconsistent. I mean, he averages 8 to 10 assists a game, but the scoring isn't always there like it should be when you're talking about the top superstars. But
Well, I mean, he's more of a true point guard in the sense that it's dish first, and it's actually, I believe, 11 to 13 assists a game, and about 18 points a game. Look, Indy's played really well. We talked about it last week. They came out and took care of business against Cleveland, regardless of what Cleveland was going through and whatever issues they had to just come into the playoffs and lay a giant goose egg. Ostrich egg. Like, what's bigger than an ostrich egg? Like some kind of really giant bird egg that they shouldn't have happened. Yeah,
Elephants.
they don't lay eggs.
Yeah,
They're
that's
mammals.
Yeah, Pinky. Thank you for that. Give me the shortest acronym for water too, Pinky. While you're at it, Wawa. Is that what we're gonna?
H2O, baby.
Okay, at least you got that. Okay, we're good.
Gatorade.
All right,
H2O.
redemption earned. Thank you, sir. Elephants and eggs. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. This is why you tune in to listen to us.
Gatorade. H2O.
They laid a big egg. They laid a really big egg. So,
brought to you by Elijah Craig Toasted. You're welcome.
You go. But Indy took care of business, and they're playing great team ball. They've got a leader in Halliburton. Miles Turner's playing well. I've talked about this. Siakam's a solid 2. Connell, the boys, Nembhard, like Obi Toppin, like they know their roles. They play the team really well, and they all play good ball together. That all being said, as much as I like the way they play, it would not surprise me at all to see New York win in 5. It would not surprise me at all if this went to 7.
Lisa Nalkaip.
Yeah, that's part of it. That's part of it, Robert. When you got dudes like that on the sideline willing your team on to victory, it's absurd.
And, yeah.
I believe matchup for matchup. Again, what's so cool about what we're seeing in the Eastern Conference Finals is the same thing we're seeing in the Western Conference Finals. These are two very, very similar teams. Some bigger guys up front, but not big, and they're not necessarily the focal point of the team. but they are key contributors. You've got the backcourts that are where it's really happening and where you see a lot of the damage being done. You've got really solid defensive skill set players and team defensive ball. You've got one side that can just get crazy hot, and the other team that, like Pinky said, likes to go up and down the court if they can. So very similar teams. But again, I'm looking at it, and I'm looking at, one, New York's been here, done that, battle tested. Two, when you go position for position, there are more stars on New York's side, and they're just as deep, I believe. When you talk about Cat versus Miles Turner, or Cat versus whoever you want to talk about, Pascal Siakam as the number 2 option, Jalen Brunson versus Halliburton as the number 1 options, both the point guards, which is interesting. That's unique. There's just so many similarities when you start going down and through the list, key guys and things of that nature. But New York has, like I said, the star quality is a little bit higher in my opinion, and they are more battle tested and experienced in these situations. They're a little bit more of a veteran team. And with the momentum they're playing with right now, and the fact that they're going to be, unfortunately for Indy, they're going to be home court. You have to go into the Mecca and the Garden with that energy and the way that team's playing right now. You probably go back down to Indy down 2-0. And if that's really how New York's playing, it won't surprise me at all if they come back to New York for Game 5 with New York up 3-1 and a chance to close out the series. So as much as I think it's going to be an entertaining series and I don't see any blowouts, I do see New York ending the game as the victor more often and quickly, which would end up giving us a New York-Minnesota finals. Jalen Brunson, Ant-Man, the Mecca of basketball.
Would you pick either of these teams against the West? Because I wouldn't.
Nope, I wasn't going to talk about that to try and give a little drama, and that way we could talk about when the finals happen. But no, I don't. I think the winner of the Western Conference is the NBA champion. And I, to be perfectly honest with you, believe that if Denver would have beat and been the one that somehow advanced to the finals too, I would have still had Denver as the favorite. So
missed opportunity.
It is kind of is what it is if you want to look at it that way. But I think New York can give a good series, but I would not have them as the favorite, and I would not even see it going 7 games to that effect. So talk about it when the time comes and we can reevaluate, but that would be my initial gut reaction from here.
I like it. All right. Robert, what do you think? Would you take New York or Indiana?
I mean, Lizan Al Gaib, so I'm going with the Knicks.
Going with the Knicks.
I mean, outside of my personal feelings about that whole situation, that dude did bring 2 pretty fine women from the West Coast to support the Knicks. Like, that's a pretty big feat.
That was baller.
I mean,
he didn't bring 2 West Coasts. He brought 2 Lakers regular courtsiders.
I mean, yes.
To the Mecca to support the Knicks, which is a big no-no as far as fandoms go. So, interesting.
Yeah, I mean, for that alone, I mean, being the nerd guy that I am, I'm going to go for that. I mean, Timothée Chalamet is one of my favorite actors right now, and I mean, he can do no wrong at this point. So I still need to see his Complete Unknown movie, but yeah, no, I'm going with the Knicks that all the way. I really think the Knicks can do it.
You mean the Bob Dylan movie?
Yeah, Complete Unknown.
Right. Yeah.
It's on Hulu. It's streaming for free. I need to make time for it.
Right.
Just a Rolling Stone.
Yeah, I'm not a huge. I like most of the songs Bob Dylan wrote that other people performed.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of Bob Dylan's music, but
I feel like you're not a folksy kind of dude.
I'm not.
That makes me feel like I'm folksy kind of guy is not your jams.
And that folksy music makes me feel like I'm manstrating. Okay, so I'm not a fan of that. My wife's not a fan of that. Pinky, she doesn't like it when I'm manstrating.
You good sir have not driven down enough dirt country roads in your life, I feel.
He's a city boy. Let's be real. Pinky is a city boy through and through. You put him out in the middle of nowhere, he'd be like, I don't know what to do with myself.
I mean, I'm gonna drink a lot more whiskey if I'm out in the country like that. That's for
You-
sure.
You get out there where there is nothing around and you're just driving down a road. It changes perspectives ever so slightly.
Right, it does.
So I also will take the Knicks in this series. Again, I'll be happy if either team makes it. Their fan bases have both been great. The Pacers would be great. The Knicks would be great. The Knicks fan base will go nuclear if they're in the NBA Finals. And a lot of the torment they've gone through for the last 40 years, like it'd be nice to see them get an opportunity, right? So
let's be real here. Let's be real here. I don't see it. I don't see any way it happens. But if New York won the NBA championship, we will have never seen anything like it in our lifetime as far as sports celebrations. And that goes for right after they win and the parade. You think that place shuts down for Macy's Day or New Year's? Let the Knicks win a championship and watch that city completely lose its shit. And I'm not saying like they burned the city down. I just mean you won't be able to drive anywhere on that island.
That parade will be epic.
Yo,
epic.
That would be one of those things that like I would go to just to experience.
I was just gonna say that, Robert. As someone who's a huge basketball dude, like I'm not gonna go into the levels of nerdness of my basketball fandom, but the Mecca is the Mecca for a reason. Rucker Park and everything of the like. Madison Square Garden parade, like that would be like a bucket list. If you really like going to parades and stuff, that would definitely be a bucket list type thing to be part of that celebration. That would be crazy.
Man, all right. We got a couple minutes left before we switch over to nonsense. Two things from the NFL. Two things. A, the NFL did approve allowing the players to play in the Olympics. Flag football in the Olympics.
Did I hear correctly? I haven't had a chance to research this yet, and I meant to read it before we came on, and I didn't have the time. Did I hear correctly that it's only one player per team is eligible?
Yes.
So
I believe that is correct.
I don't know about that at all.
So you can't get like Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown or Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley, or like you're not going to be able to get two dudes from each. So that's what's going to make it interesting a little bit, because that takes away from the familiarity, if you will, if you're going to try to get a quarterback and one of his weapons or something like that. It's going to be interesting to see how this goes. But like, let's be honest, this is like the 92 Dream Team when they went to the Olympics and played. People want to look at that as like the greatest basketball team ever assembled. And if I'm being perfectly honest with you guys, it wasn't. Because most of that team was way past their prime. Larry Bird could barely walk at that point in his career. Magic Johnson was out of the league, albeit due to some health issue situations. But like, team was old. That was a bunch of all-time greats on the other side of their prime kind of idea. This NFL thing, you're talking about putting right now modern day NFL stars in their prime to go play people in flag football from around the world, where like football doesn't even, like, at least basketball is being played in other parts of the world. Like, let's be honest.
Football is, but it's just
No. Let's be honest. Football's only played in America. They play rugby in other parts of the world.
Sorry. Nope.
But what they play, Robert.
Nope.
Robert.
Okay.
Nope.
Hold on.
No. Hang on. Listen to me, Pinky. Hang on. Just listen to me. Military kids in school overseas have to go play other military-based teams to play football. They're not playing local. Italy has their own teams, football, playing against each other. NFL Europe doesn't even exist anymore. So while you might want to say other parts of the world play it, fine. But that's like saying America plays cricket. Like, it's played here,
but we don't play it. So, like, there's no comparison. Like, at least basketball was internationally known on a fairly substantial level. There was a European professional league even back then. There's no other professional football leagues in that sense around the world. And you're going to put modern day NFL players up against these guys is crazy to me.
Thankfully,
It's crazy
there's
to a.
it's not
it's crazy
tackle
to
football.
a point, but exactly that was exactly what I was about to say. Is you are going to be playing a very different type of game. Yes, you are still playing American football, but it is at the very big difference, an entirely different game. It's like, again, playing indoor soccer and outdoor soccer. That is a very different level of play and a very different level of IQ you have to have.
It's not. I understand what you're trying to say, but it's not that much different. The difference is you're grabbing a flag instead of tackling somebody. But you're talking about having to keep up with the speed, the agility, the quickness, the footwork. Like, none of that stuff changes. They still have all of that, and you're talking about going up against people who don't play the game. Like, this isn't the people they're going to be going up against might be, if I'm being legitimately honest with you, might be equivalent to some of the higher end high school level football players in America when it comes to skill. Nobody's even going to equal that we see. Nobody's even going to come close to even good college players. Not elite, good college players. And we're going to send the most elite, best of the best. So when you're talking about running the route to get open, when you're talking about the footwork to stay with somebody on the defensive side when they're trying to run a route, when you're talking about the ability to run somebody down or run away from somebody, all of those things are still in place in flag football. So, yes, there'll be some different rules, but the game itself is very similar. Whereas your example of indoor to outdoor soccer, I get where you're coming from, but those games are very different. While they are still soccer, they are played very differently. The strategy, the mindset, the endurance, and everything. Flag football, in the way the game is going to be played, you're still calling plays, you're still trying to get open, things of that nature are still all going to be very similar, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
See, and I would rather have college players going and playing than our NFL superstars, because I think these games are going to be awful to watch. Because I do believe each one of these teams that we play will have that one player that you're like, you know what? Damn, that guy's really good. But that's one guy when we have a team of those guys. And that's what I think will be the difference.
And not to mention, I mean, granted, I know it's kind of very far and few in between in the NFL anyways, but there will be some professional players. I mean, there's going to have to be some strict rules with it that will go and represent, quote unquote, their country. So it's not just going to be
possible.
A lot of NFL players made up on the USA or the USA team. Sorry, got work on the brain. But a lot of these players may also, like they do with soccer, move into their own country, representing their own flag. Because as you and I, as all of us know, to be able to represent your country on a main stage like that, you're going to go for that rather than...
So here's the problem. Two things I see with that right now. One, I could see owners saying, no, if you're going to do it, you're representing the American flag or nothing. Two,
no, they won't do that.
I'm just saying I could see it happen. I'm not saying they would, but it wouldn't surprise me if they did. Two, as far as I remember right now, there is no foreign-born player in the NFL. So if any NFL player does that right now,
Jordan Mailata,
he's not foreign-born.
Yes, he is. He's from Australia, bro, or New Zealand. There's a couple. There's not a lot.
No. I thought his heritage was. He is not.
Let's see. Penei Sewell, he's American. Jordan Mailata, he's Australian. David Bada, German. Jacob Johnson, German. Cairo Santos, Brazilian. John Mechie is Canadian.
Santos isn't even in the league right now. The kicker.
Now
if I
again,
remember correctly.
there's not going to
But
be a
okay,
great
so
pool.
fair. There might be some former
Oboda.
or low-end NFL guys that could get in there. The only big name would be Mailata. My bad. I thought he was descendant of, but not direct lineage, or not himself born overseas. So
Well, he's American now.
yeah. Well, there's one in the NFL that is of
It's
name,
not.
if you will.
It's not like the NBA. It's not like soccer.
Baseball, yeah, those things. So even to your point, Robert, even if there were, I mean, awesome for them, you get the opportunity, but it's not a difference maker by any means that
I would
it's going to
rather
swing the
see.
needle.
I would rather see our college kids go over and play for us than our NFL stars. I just think the
And-
games will be better. I still think college stars would blast other countries in flag football. I just don't think we need to send our NFL superstars. I'm also nervous, man. I'd hate for my NFL superstar to tear a freaking ACL or an Achilles tendon playing flag football.
Well, here's the thing. Yeah, absolutely, Pinky. And this is going to happen during training camp.
Right.
And not to mention, also keep in mind, Caleb, I know you're saying very different sports, but these are 5-on-5 teams. That is the Olympic format. It is not a fully stacked team.
Which is even more in favor of the NFL guys because you give more open space to guys who are supremely athletic. Like, be honest, if there were dudes in other countries who could be on the same level playing this type of sport, you would hear about them. They're not for a reason.
Now,
NFL
again,
Europe was shut down for a reason. Like, that's why I agree with Pinky. It would have been better to see like the college kids doing this, or for that matter, there is a pro flag football league or something of that nature. You could have sent them and see what happens.
Now they're trying to grow that international players because every team is allowed a roster spot for an international player where they don't count against your 53 players. So they all get
the sport's just so different from anything else. Like, people are like, well, why aren't sumo wrestlers good at it? Well, because while sumo wrestlers might be good at moving an object or being kept from moving, they're not known as the most agile person in the world to be able to run consistently over and over again. They're that immovable object meets immovable force kind of, that kind of thing. They're not trying to run around. Why aren't rugby players great at football? Well, because the footwork and the hand-eye coordination, the way the ball is caught, and things of that nature are very different. And so if you grow up playing one, it's hard to transition to the other. There is nothing like football in the rest of the world that allows things to translate. And that's the really, I think, most brutal part about guys coming from other things trying to come in. The only thing that's been successful on a regular basis, and even it hasn't been very regular as much as maybe you think it would have, is soccer players coming over and being kickers. And even that's had a very inconsistent history in itself. So we'll see what happens. I just don't see how this isn't just an insane blowout beating of epic proportions kind of thing. I mean, if we really get one guy from each team, like the USA only gets one team, how many guys do you put on a team? Like, you only need like 10 to 12 guys, you would think. So
to go back to that, to wrap this up, one player from each of the 32 NFL teams can participate, plus each club's designated international player, where a total of 64 people, NFL players, could be participating in the Olympics.
So it'll be interesting to see who plays. I think right before the Olympics, I mean, we're still a year away, but we'll come up with.
We're several years away. This is 2028, my guy.
Oh yeah, sorry. World Cup's 26. My bad. World Cup's next year. Yeah.
Yep.
As that time comes, we'll each put together what we think when we know more of what the roster constructions are and maybe who's eligible and stuff. We'll just do it before then so we can pick what we think would be the best lineup. But
for sure,
we're years out. But the fact the NFL voted it as a go is crazy enough.
Absolutely. Pinky, you said there was one more NFL topic.
Well, we'll see. It's based on the tush push. Real quickly,
keep the tush push.
I gotta say, keep the tush push. If all teams were good at it, I might say go ahead and ban it. Because only one team is good at it, obviously they're doing something right. They should not be punished for doing something that other teams are not able to replicate. And I feel like that's the biggest problem of this.
Agreed. Sorry that you're not good, son. Just kidding.
Look at
Do
that.
better. Yep.
All
Do
right.
better, suck less.
So, that being said, well, gentlemen, going to the transition here from sports to nonsense. What are the top 10 sports movies for you both?
Oh man,
I've
we
got my own
heated.
list and with honorable mentions. So, I've got my list. I'm not going off of IMDb or anything. I'm just going off of sports movies that I know and respect and love.
I don't know. I think that list that we sent in the chat was pretty damn close for me.
I do have to say we got to take out the Big Lebowski. That is just I can't. I can't.
Well, that was
get
on the
behind
IMDb
that.
one, I think.
Yeah.
That's not a sports movie in my
It's
opinion.
been on several. It's actually on the Rolling Stones' list even, and I'm like,
Yeah, calling that a
wow.
sports movie just because they're in a bowling league is pretty ballsy.
That's what I'm like. There's no even real
Pinky said, there's Kingpin for that. Yeah,
exactly.
Kingpin
A
is a
legit
bowling
bowling
movie.
yeah.
Kingpin is a bowling
Yes.
movie. Big Lebowski is not.
Correct. Big Lebowski is a stoner movie.
Here's the top 10 that I stole from some Facebook post. Remember the Titans, Rocky, Field of Dreams, Moneyball, Miracle,
Yeah.
Hoosiers,
Absolutely.
Happy Gilmore, A
And-
League of Their Own, We Are Marshall, The Sandlot.
Forgot about that one.
Now, for me, the movie that's not on my top 10 out of this, I think I could argue for all of these. We Are Marshall was okay. It's an okay movie. It's not a top 10 sports movie.
Caleb, I think I own it. I'll swing it by.
I'm good. I know the actual story, and I don't need to see a movie about it because that's how involved. You guys know my sports thing, but I don't need to. That's such a just.
It's okay. It's an okay movie, but I think the story.
No, the situation. I'm not talking about the movie, Pinky. I'm talking about
the situation around it is.
Yeah,
I don't need to watch a movie about that one, man. That is just. Yeah.
So for me, I really to be honest, I think Happy Gilmore is by far one of the most overrated Adam Sandler movies. I really
You don't play golf, Robert. You don't play golf.
Oh, I do, and I don't. I really hate it. No. I really don't enjoy it. I really do not enjoy Happy Gilmore. I would rather put on Waterboy or one of his other movies.
No, Waterboy's really bad.
I just do not enjoy. I do not enjoy Happy Gilmore.
Happy Gilmore,
I really don't understand how we're getting a sequel to it. I think it's dumb.
I can do that a sequel, but I feel that way about a lot of movies.
Because outside of that, there are multitudes of other better golf movies. Caddyshack, way funnier, way better than Happy Gilmore. Tin Cup is another.
Tin Cup's solid.
Legend of Bagger Vance, greatest game I've ever played.
Solid.
I'm sorry. All of those movies put up against Happy Gilmore lose every single time.
I will not agree with you on that, but fair. I understand where you're coming from.
So, look, if you don't have Happy Gilmore in the top 10, I'm okay with it. It's a fun movie. It's funny. Golf, I think it did a great job for making golf fun. Making it like it wasn't so stuffy. It was fun. So I think it did a good job at that. But I can agree with you on that, Robert.
It did a lot of other things. It brought in the kind of the inner workings of what the golfers actually talk about, like when they're doing that bet inside the clubhouse bar and trying to knock the Pelican off, and then the Pro-Am with Bob Barker and how those can go haywire sometimes, and just like there's a lot of parody there that I don't think a lot of people caught on to, which is maybe why some people don't like it as much as others, but fair. Look, I understand where you're coming from.
The movie,
good sir.
The movie I was shocked that's not on this list, and I would argue it's in my top 3. Major League. Fun. exciting, great characters. It's awesome. It's a perfect movie.
The one for me that I really feel like that should be on that list would be Rudy.
I can't get behind it. I think Rudy's boring as shit.
Rudy is leaps and bounds in my mind over Remember the Titans.
Oh God, no!
I would agree with that.
God, no!
I agree with you on that.
That's a
Caleb.
fucking awful take.
Look,
Both of you.
you're gonna put me in this position. I actually like Any Given Sunday more than I like Remember the Titans.
No, but
So
I do like Any Given Sunday a lot.
Robert, finish your top 10, and then I'll throw kind of my thought out there.
So all pretty much outside of those, the only other one that that was not included on that list, and this is just more of a personal choice, just because that's one of the movies I grew up with and really started to follow, was The Rookie with Dennis Quaid.
Solid one.
And then the two honorable mentions that I have that will probably not ever show up on a list like this. Number one is going to be White Men Can't Jump. I mean, that's a classic. Can't beat that. It could arguably be top 10, but I would maybe go top 15. And then the last one, and just because of the story, and then this is really kind of one of my big exposures, I guess, to wrestling, because I never got into it as a kid, was Mickey Rourke's The Wrestler. I really did enjoy that movie. I thought that was a solid movie. I'm not a big Mickey Rourke fan, but I really did enjoy that. I loved the story.
That one best
that stuck with
picture,
me.
didn't it?
It won some Academy Awards, but I don't believe it won Best Picture. Let me look.
It's up there.
And I mean, Aunt May's in that, and I don't need to talk any more about that whole movie, but that made it for sure. Let's see. He was nominated for Best Actor, and Marissa Tomei was nominated for Best Supporting Actress, but it did not win the Best Picture award. Okay. It did go for a lot of the other awards shows and things. It was put up as like Best Sports film, or I believe it had one of the Best Original Songs with Bruce Springsteen. So like it won other awards, but it definitely had a lot to it for when it was made. So solid movie.
If someone has The Wrestler in their top 10, I'm not hating it. So I'm
those are my big ones. And then I mean, it's a sport. I mean, it's a sport agent, and I mean, we're gonna get there in a minute. But I mean, Jerry Maguire is always a classic.
Solid.
Jerry Maguire's fun. So,
it's top 15, not top 10, but I would put it in the top 15.
It's not one of my top 10 just because, again, for me, it's got to have that moment of competition in sports where the underdog overcomes, there's that adversity and the team overcomes. I think that's that moment that you need in a sports movie to really like have it shine. And we don't really get that. Thankfully, Cuba gets paid. That's what we want. We wanted Cuba to get paid. He got paid. We wanted Jerry Maguire to land on his feet. He does that. He makes money, and he ends up getting love from a woman and her kids, right? So exactly. I think that it's a beautiful story, but I almost don't say it's quite like a sports movie.
Fair enough.
But
and then this is my last one, because I am actually getting ready to show my niece this coming fall, and that's going to be The Little Giants.
Classic.
Solid. Classic. Little Giants is solid. Caleb, what is your number one movie? Like if it's the only sports movie you can watch, that's the movie you would watch.
I don't have one. Honest to God, I don't have one. There's a lot of really good ones, and I don't necessarily have a favorite. But I think Hoosiers is up there. Caddyshack is up there.
R.I.P. Gene Hackman.
Some cult classics, if you will. Any Given Sunday, The Replacements is kind of more of a comedy,
Oh man, I
but
forgot about that
funny.
one.
That's in my top 5. I can watch that.
Nice.
I can just watch it over and over.
He Got
He's
Game.
wiry.
He Got Game and White Men Can't Jump are in there. Color of Money is actually one of my more favorite ones. Most people aren't maybe necessarily going to consider it sports because it's billiards, but I love it.
Hey, billiards is a sport.
I think it is, but to each their own.
Darts is also a sport.
Yeah. So
Ted Lasso.
I understand why Remember the Titans is such a big movie, but I don't know, for historical stories like that, I liked other stories that weren't sports stories that had to deal with that history more so, and so I think that's why I might not be as keen on Remember the Titans as a whole, because like I said, I like Rudy more, I like Any Given Sunday more. And I don't know why I don't necessarily. It's not that I dislike Remember the Titans. It just wasn't a movie that I could watch over and over again, and because of that, it's why it's not really in my top. Happy Gilmore actually is one of my more favorite ones, but I also love Tin Cup. So it was really hard for me to narrow down like a favorite or a top 10, because then you can go watch things like Brian's Song or 42, and you're going to get more of I'm drawing a blank on the Lou Gehrig story one, Yankee Pride,
61.
61.
The Roger Maris story.
Those ones maybe are a little harder to watch over and over again, but then you get some of those that are the quote unquote autobiography kind of thing. So there's a lot of really good ones. Another one that I thought about that I don't know if a lot of people have heard of that I thought I'd throw out there is Celtic Pride. Anybody remember that one?
No. I'm looking it up though. Oh, the Wyan brothers.
There's a Wayne's in it. There's a Dan Aykroyd in it.
Daniel Stern. Shooter McGavin. Dion's in it.
Old school.
Huh.
Mid-90s, I believe. 95, 96, I want to say.
96.
Quality B-movie. Quality B-movie, ladies and gentlemen. Check that out. And then one that I will always go back to just because it was so... Timing was perfect. Nobody really knew it was coming back then the way we would know things now. The global influence it had, the soundtrack that came with it, what it did for reinvigorating animation and live action and all of these things. Space Jam is another one that is just kind of always like, I don't care if it's a kid movie or not. That's one that if I see it come on, I can kind of sit back and chill and watch it. So sometimes I forget how much adult humor is in there as well with Bugs and Bill Murray and the like. So quality again. So like I said, there's a lot. I can't really narrow it down. Maybe that's because of how big of a sports nerd I am. But maybe mine is not going to be the same as what maybe the mainstream
average.
Yeah,
that's fair.
So
all good titles.
I mean, Remember the Titans and Major League are probably like my two favorite.
I was going to mention Major League. Like if I had to pick a top 5, like you're probably talking Hoosiers, Caddyshack, Major League. I mean those 3 are probably in the top 5 for me if I had to be forced to. I love those 3. But again, it's kind of hard to. I really do love Any Given Sunday too. Like I don't know why I love that movie.
Any Given Sunday is crazy because it's 3 hours long, but I think it touches on a lot of different things about football.
A lot.
And like the speech from Al Pacino at the end is epic.
Dude,
it's all about inches. And like that speech makes the movie itself. You've got so much stuff. You've got Lawrence Taylor being Lawrence Taylor doing coke and prostitutes. and
dealing
change.
with legit head trauma and
Right.
physicians signing him to play when he shouldn't be, and then the dollars and the contracts, the retiring, the aging
You've got
QB, and
the older vet QB dealing with, I don't want to lose my job, but I probably don't have a lot left. And you've got Jamie Foxx, and he's
the cast: Dennis Quaid, Jamie Foxx, Al Pacino, LT, Vin Rames.
It's definitely in my top 10. That one is for sure.
Fair.
For sure. Because it is 3 hours, but it doesn't feel like 3 hours to me.
Agreed.
And my guilty pleasure, and there's a lot of them. I like comedic sports movies because I think it plays into the comedy and then the sport as well. My guilty pleasure is Varsity Blues. Varsity Blues is amazing. And I thought that it did such a great job of Texas high school football. It's
that
everything.
movie is more realistic to Texas big time program football than people would realize, especially in a smaller town area. Like legit.
And it was like Varsity Blues in the program, right? Both of those. And the Replacements is my I love the Replacements. I love it. It's goofy. It's maybe a little corny, but Keanu Reeves, John Favreau, Gene Hackman.
She's been shaking her ass for 2 minutes.
So just perfect. Sports movies are great. We should probably plan a day where we get together and we watch anything but other than Rudy. We can do that. I just can't do it. It's boring as shit to me.
That's fine.
I could see that. I could totally see that.
I'm down. I'm totally down.
That all being said, Robert mentioned the movie earlier with an actor that we wanted to dive into a little bit more because of what he's doing in Hollywood right now and what's about to happen. And that is Mr. Jerry Maguire himself, Tom Cruise. Robert, what are we talking of next, good sir?
So I mean, I mentioned it earlier for some of the other things, especially with Ant, and it really ties into separating a lot of things. And Tom Cruise outside of movies and stuff is an absolute total freaking nutcase, and I really don't want to touch on that. On the movie aspect and the entertainment factor, there is no one else really that puts people in the theaters than Tom Cruise. I mean, and it you can track it over. Yeah. I love it. I mean, it's because I was inverted. Pinky, I know that took you a minute. I'm sorry.
I don't have my glasses. I had to really look at it.
And it's one of those few things that Tom Cruise has done so much for movies. Not in just recent history. I mean, without having Top Gun Maverick, we would very much be in a very different movie landscape right now. Movie theaters were basically on their way out. I mean, several movie theaters in Denver's closed. Here in Springs, a couple of theaters closed and now have reopened to other things. But Tom Cruise gets movies. And I hate saying that because, I mean, there are so many movies that I'm like, oh, man, that had Tom Cruise in it, too. That had Tom Cruise in it, too. And it doesn't matter what medium. Sci-fi, Top Gun, sports, Jerry Maguire. I mean,
best Tom Cruise movie, Tropic Thunder, baby. Ugh.
And the fact that he was the one who came up with the character, did all of the hands, the dancing. I mean,
Diet Coke.
Gets movies.
Greatest cameo in movies, in my opinion. I love him.
Absolutely.
So there's two cameos. It's Tom Cruise and Bill Murray. Those are the top two.
Oh, yeah.
From Zombieland?
Sure. Yeah.
Is that what you're going with?
You have any regrets? Garfield, maybe. I mean, and it's just seeing what he's doing for promoting this movie is just incredible. I mean, he's spending time with the people going to see movies, the movie theater workers, explaining what it takes to do some of the things that he does, because what makes the Mission Impossible so enjoyable for me is there is very, very little CGI. It is all practical. It is real stunts. It is real stakes as you're watching this. And I mean, the movie's already wrapped. He's okay, but it's still, you're on the edge of your seat like, holy shit, he's hanging on a freaking airplane right now. And he's done that twice.
He rode a motorcycle off a mountain to base jump with a pair. Like, what are you doing?
And he's done Halo jumps. Like, I mean, these are things that, like, you have to respect the craft, and that's a lot of things that we talk about on this podcast. Is it's your craft. This is what makes you you. And one
Respect
of
the
those
greatness
things,
while it's around, right?
exactly. I mean, he's in his mid-60s and doing all of this right now.
I can't
And that,
imagine the insurance that he carries to be able to do all this
and
stuff.
I don't even want to think about it.
Dude, not just him. You want to talk about his insurance? Talk
the
about the studio's
the
insurance
production
to allow
studio.
him to even do it.
They're like, we might make more money if he dies. Like,
yeah, really though. And that's what I really love is that no matter what movie it is, if he's in it, I'm gonna give it a shot. Because he makes great movies. And one of the things that I love about what he does on the outside with movies is that he is also very involved in the production. He understands the lenses being used, the camera movement, what needs to be staged, how it needs to be set up, how do we get here, and builds these goals of things. And it's just incredible. And then you look at some of these other, like, oh, hey, these are the big blockbusters of the year. Like, sure, you're going to get everyone to go see a Marvel movie.
guys,
Like,
how did we talk about sports movies and we didn't talk about Days of Thunder? Fantastic
I was getting
movie.
there. I was getting there.
Oh my god, I feel stupid now because that's actually one of my favorites. Legit, that's probably in my top 10.
I was
Anytime
actually
that comes
saving
on,
that
I'm
as
watching
like
it
my
legitimately.
golden nugget is because Days of Thunder, it's iconic. There's so many great one-liners. Nicole Kidman is.
But that's what's so great about Tom Cruise is we're not talking about a dude with a couple hits here and there that were huge. We're talking about a career that spans legitimate decades.
I
Four
mean,
to five legit. Well, let's say five because 80s, 90s, 4, 80s, 90s, thousands, 2000. Now the 2020. So 5. But you're talking about things like Days of Thunder, Cocktails in the 80s. You're talking about Top Gun,
Guys,
obviously.
McGuire.
But you're talking about Jerry Maguire in the 90s. The first Mission Impossible was 96, I want to say.
It's as old as me, baby.
Tom Cruise made me want to be a lawyer. Okay.
The
Dude,
Firm. Great movie.
You're talking
A Few Good Men.
I mean, also solid.
But that's what I was gonna say next. Then he does not just blockbusters,
You
but
can
more
handle the
indie
truth.
side, if you will. Few Good Men, Vanilla Sky.
Oh my gosh, Vanilla Sky! What an epic movie.
The other one I was thinking of? Now I drew a blank. But he's very
Minority
as Robert was
Report
saying earlier, diverse and spreads his wings all over the place when it comes to roles and mediums and portrayals of what he's doing. Like even like I don't know how else to explain this, and sometimes I struggle with this, but like when I see The Rock in a movie, I see The Rock.
He's the same person.
It's still The Rock. But when I see
pull
Tom
pictures
Cruise in a
and
movie,
it's the same dude.
I see Tom Cruise, but a character. I don't see I don't know, like I see Tom Cruise as that character, and they're all a little bit different enough to where I'm good. It's Tom Cruise because he's so famous and it is what it is, but it's still that character and Tom Cruise. It's not just Tom Cruise in every movie. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And that's one of the few things, as I mentioned it, is, you can track some of these things to the point where he's changed movies. I mean, they make fun of it in Austin Powers because he broke the box office.
That's a great cameo.
It is a fantastic.
Too. I forgot about that. Did. Oh my god.
Yes. I mean, it's one of the, like, you can track it throughout these several decades is how much of an
DeVito
impact.
is Mini-Me. Oh, that was so classic. Oh, jeez.
And I mean, and you look at some of the other things that he's done, and I mean, he's got a great relationship with Ben Stiller. Outside of, like, it's one of those things that you think of, like, they don't belong together, but they did this sequence way back when for the Teen Awards when Ben Stiller body doubled him doing the rock climbing thing.
Right.
I mean,
right.
There's so many things that Tom Cruise has been a part of that you just, like, you can't distinguish him away from movies. He's like our Marlon Brando of our generation. Like, he is continuously making fantastic movies. And
I understand what you're saying there, but I would not.
I mean, he's Hollywood royalty. There's no.
It's going to be hard for me to think of another comparison on the fly, but Marlon Brando was more of the heartthrob too, though. I don't ever remember Tom Cruise necessarily being a heartthrob like the Leos or the Brad Pitts or
In the 80s, he absolutely was. Absolutely was.
Everybody wanted to be Maverick or Iceman. There wasn't any.
They wanted it, but there wasn't the that teeny bopper sensation kind of
you were not a
girls
teenage
putting
girl in
this
the
poster
80s?
on the walls stuff.
Yeah, there was. In the 80s, for sure.
The beach volleyball scene from Top Gun a little bit, but like I knew a lot of like I've talked to girls about this. That was not a name that was usually on the wall, is what I'm saying. But like Marlon Brando was like shoot, I'm drawing a blank on the guy's name. This is pathetic. The famous green Mustang fastback, the epic chase scene through San Francisco. The actor, how do you guys not know this when you're supposed to be huge movie buffs?
Because you're talking about like
Casablanca.
Casablanca. I just said San Francisco, and you're giving me Northern Africa.
I don't know Marlon Brando movies, bro. Those are black
He's
and
not
white.
a Marlon Brando. It's
I don't like black and white movies, and I don't like Dean Martin.
Bullet.
No.
Bullet.
Thank you.
I was about to say the Steve McQueen.
I don't like
Okay.
old movies. Old movies are overacted, and I don't like them.
That's sad.
That's a really sad
for somebody
thing to
who's supposed to be
Sorry.
a movie buff. That's sad.
I'm sorry. I don't like the overacting.
There
I
are
don't.
some epic.
I will
epic
on
movies
any
from the
day,
past.
any day of a given week put up the original Ocean's 11 to George Clooney and Brad Pitt's crap. Like, it was a great movie. I love the original Rat Pack, and the ending just makes that movie so much better.
They're great. They're great, but that Clooney, Brad Pitt, like that cast, the acting. Anyway,
I mean,
back to Tom Cruise.
Yeah. Again, it's one of those things that seeing things, getting after what we had last year for movies, and then coming back to it, having Mission Impossible, and seeing all the promotion he's doing, I really feel like it's summer again. It's movies are coming out. These are blockbusters. These are things people are putting their butts in the seats in movie theaters to go and see. And I love it. I love the movie theater experience. There is nothing like it. I love because you just shut out the world and nothing else matters but you and this screen.
Well, as you were saying, Robert, the coolest thing and part of the reason we decided to talk about Tom Cruise and give him his flowers tonight is because while the dude is on world tour for the newest Mission Impossible, the final installment of this franchise that has been his baby almost, if you will. What is he doing on his press tours? He is promoting other people's movies. He is promoting cinema and telling people. He talked about Sinners. He talked about the Ballerina coming up. This man has been on his own press tour for his own movie in the final installment of this epic franchise. And the dude is talking about other movies he's going and seeing and telling people how they need to get out there and go and see them. Like,
Sinners.
Say what you want outside and his personal life, by all accounts, still a really good dude. Just kind of goes about it maybe in a way a lot of other people wouldn't. But regardless, he is taking the time to try and promote something he is passionate about beyond himself, to try and bring people together to enjoy something that he feels strongly about in an art. No different than what we're doing with sports and our love for Star Wars or anything else. And I love that when it comes from anyone. But to watch someone on his level do it to promote other people, you can tell it's genuine because you had Michael B. Jordan come to his premiere over in, what was it, France or Italy or England or whatever for MI 10. Is this 10? 9? 10? 8? Sorry, I'm confusing with the Fast franchises. I apologize.
Okay.
That's not fair, but you understand where I'm coming from. Mission Impossible 8, Michael B. Jordan, yeah, he's part of it and stuff, whatever. But
he's not. Michael B. Jordan isn't in this movie at all.
Oh,
he's just there.
Sorry, I didn't mean part of that movie. I mean, he and Tom Cruise are part of. I can't remember what they were. I'm drawing a blank now.
No, they had a whole press conference, and actually that was one of the things that he talked about. Is he's really trying to get into a movie with Michael B. Jordan and stuff like that, and working with some of these other people.
And you have Michael B. Jordan trying to promote the cinema and movies as well, and those two just you can see the true respect for each other's craft, and because of that true respect for each other's craft, they're just cool with each other. Just because they both love movies and they respect what each other has done and they like the other's work and their art, and because of that, it got them talking to each other, and they're promoting each other and coming to support each other strictly because of that.
Yeah.
I love seeing that kind of thing. So that's kind of what got us talking about this. And then you've got infamous lines like this that are famous royalty in cinema. It's it's awesome.
This is by far the best popcorn bucket that I have has come out and I own. It is amazing. For the simple fact that you actually get the movie prop you get the whole thing is you get actual metal keys from the movie, and it opens up the popcorn bucket. Like, that's pretty legit, and they're not plastic; they are metal. So
nice.
I find it to be very cool.
I watched MI7 on Sunday, and it was just as good as I remember. Just as good.
I'm excited. I've been rewatching all the movies, getting ready for this weekend.
I've seen one
stoked.
I've seen one probably about 5 times in the last month because it's just been on cable rotation for some reason. Yeah. But god dang, that movie holds up so well.
It really does. The second one is terrible, and it's not its fault. There were so many things that happened in production. I can't blame the movie, but it's not good.
I don't enjoy 2, 4, and 5 that much. The rest of them I think are pretty damn good.
I loved 3.
3's the best.
That was J.J. Abrams' directorial debut. That really put him on the map, and then we got a lot of other stuff.
Which one's 3?
With the rabbit's foot, Philip Seymour Hoffman, and he gets married.
Oh yeah, that one is really good. Yeah, that one's really good. Yeah.
And there's rumor that 3 has a big presence in this new movie, so I am so excited for it to come out. Again, it's going to be a fantastic movie either way. I'm excited. There's a lot of new actors coming into this film too that I have a tremendous respect for. So to see them now collaborating on one of my favorite movie franchises, I'm pretty stoked.
It's going to be great. It is going to be great. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to that time of our evening where we give you some final thoughts. Robert, if you would indulge us, good sir.
Final thoughts. It's over. Get on it. Watch Andor. And the minute you finish that series, you are going to have no other option but to put on Rogue One. That's all I have to say. What turned out from is now a 7-hour epic of a story, through and through. I have a tremendous respect for Tony Gilroy. I have tremendous respect for how they honored a movie from 10 years ago, and how seamlessly it just falls into place with the rest of the series. So, please, if you're not a big Star Wars person, it is still phenomenal TV. Get out there, watch it, enjoy it. You're missing out.
So to back up Robert's point, I was at a poker game Saturday night, and 2 of the guys mentioned Andor, and they both immediately said they both watched Rogue One right after.
You just
so
can't,
Robert is
you
just
can't
not. He's just not spitting nerd knowledge because that's who he is. This is a fact. When you get done, you will watch Rogue One.
And it is the #1 watched movie on Disney Plus right now. The number 1 movie.
Let's be honest. I haven't even watched it yet, which is shame on me, and there are reasons why, and I'm not going to go
into Andor or Rogue One.
But
Andor.
It is 4 of the episodes. It might be 5, maybe even higher now. I haven't checked just today, but are in the top 10 of all time television or series episodes in rated history.
So the last 5 are the top rated episodes of any TV series. They all hold a 9.8 or 9.9.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this isn't just like a Star Wars story. And to take it a step further, just to back up Robert's point again in his final thought, because we do believe this, and I am as passionate about Star Wars as Robert. I just am creating more knowledge to gain, to get to his level, if you will. But the passion is there. This is without Jedis and the Force and the Sith. And This is telling the story from a humanize
Our perspective.
the people point of view, a grounded perspective, if you will, which is what I think has made it so epically good. And the fact that they had the foresight to think about the way to tell this story in these terms was brilliant on so many different levels. Pinky, final thoughts, good sir, please.
Guys, I tune in Friday for another great episode of Smack Talk and Raw. We will be discussing and previewing Saturday night main event. I'm excited, guys. Got a great lineup for Saturday night. I'm super excited for R-Truth and John Cena. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. A lot of fun. I am stoked for this. I don't know if the wrestling will be amazing, guys, but I think R-Truth is so funny. I think there'll be some good stuff in this match. Tune in, Saturday night main event, Smack Talk and Raw Friday. We will break it down. Let's go.
Love it.
That is a bold statement, Pinky. Good for you, sir.
Let's see if it pays off for him, Cotton.
Two 50-year-olds
Oh, man, we
barely
forgot
move are going to
dodgeball.
put on an enjoyable match to carry a PLE.
Oh, hold on. John Cena's 48, okay?
Oh,
he's 48.
Apologies, good sir.
Hey, I'm 45. Again, he's 48, okay?
R-Truth's 57, right? Like
53.
I think he evens it back out to 50s.
He's 53.
Okay.
Give him his props. He's 53. He looks amazing.
So the average is actually over 50. I wasn't anyways, just hard times. If you're a motorsports fan, you are very excited for this weekend.
Let's go!
Very excited. Indy 500 goes down Sunday. Before that kicks off, Monaco goes down. Two of the top 3 to the top 5 most famous races in motorsports, period, go down this weekend. I'm drawing a blank on NASCAR now all of a sudden, so I do apologize, NASCAR, but they also have a big race going down. It's a good week. It's a good weekend for motorsports, and I will be watching them, and I am excited to see what goes down. Monaco, more than any other race on the F1 circuit, if you don't win the pole, you're probably not winning. I think
Max Verstappen.
I believe it's 14 out of the last 16 have won from the pole. Very rare that you're going to see passing on Monaco. But I say all of that only to probably be proven wrong because of some rule changes and things they're doing differently this year. They're going to have 2, I believe is what I have understood, if I'm understanding this correctly, 2 required pit stops.
Yes, 2.
Which completely changes strategy and things of that nature. So that could really change 14 out of the last 16, pole sitter winning, things of that nature. Who knows? And yes, the Indy 500 is one big circle over and over again. But I promise you it is fun to watch. They are doing 220-ish. And they are drafting off of each other. They are strategizing of who they're going to team up with or not team up with and how they're going to go around, when they're going to pit. It is fun to watch, I promise you. So, look, there's some motorsports going down this weekend that are granddaddies in their sports. They are epic. They are the reason you watch. So, maybe check it out. See what you think. On that note, please, this weekend, 3-day weekend, Memorial Day weekend, I will start by saying thank you for your service to those that have come before us and paid the greatest cost for us to have this weekend to celebrate, because that's truly the reason we have this weekend in America. The Memorial Day part is to honor those soldiers who fought and died for this country. Thank you. On that, spend that time with your lovely family, your friends, your inner circle, whoever you may consider to be your loved ones, because those moments should be cherished, not taken for granted, and find something to do, because it's going to be a 3-day weekend here in America. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. And if you get the chance to have a 3-day weekend in some other parts of the country, take advantage of it as well.
Go to the movies. Spend time with your family. Lilo and Stitch, Mission Impossible. Like, you can't go wrong with either one. Just have fun. Enjoy it. It's summer. Summers are for movies.
On that note, we appreciate you all for everything you do to support us. We're out. Peace.